Morning. It's Friday the 11th of February. Welcome to another day in Tenerife, beautiful island of Tenerife. Weather's not too bad today, it's quite nice. I've got some news. It's one of those ones where being a parent myself, have two kids, a little bit more grown up now, but it's whether with the school holidays coming, whether it's actually worthwhile coming over for a holiday in Tenerife in the next few weeks, in the next month, due to the changes that's going on, which I just want to tell you a little bit more about them now. My favourite rule of all actually happened yesterday, and that was the no mask rule. That means we're not fully out of it yet. You don't have to wear your masks anymore in the street, which was a rule that was just such a controversial rule anyway for a lot of people. I think in Los Cristianos, Las Americas, most probably 95% of the people didn't understand it anyway, and nobody actually wore it. But as of yesterday, they've actually stopped that rule now. So this is a really, really good thing. So if you're coming over with the family and you're walking down the street, as long as you can keep the 1.5 metre distance, you don't even have to wear a mask, which is really, really good. You still have to wear it indoors when you go into a bar or into a restaurant. So literally from the terrace from the start of the terrace to the bar, you put the mask on and then walk in, sit down, then take your mask off. But again, it's a massive breakthrough. It's like a forward movement for the island, really, where the mask is not really mandatory anymore, which is a great one for people like myself. I struggled with the mask, to be honest with you. I really did in the end. But that's a great rule. That's rule number one. There's more. We're moving now. We're still in level 4, which is the highest level can be. But yesterday we got classified as flexible level 4, which comes into play tonight at 12 o'clock this evening, midnight. What it actually means is the people that are in level 4 are staying there. None of the levels are moving in across the whole of the Canary Islands. But what actually happens is we're getting the privileges of the level below. So we're actually getting level 3 privileges, which in this instance is for the big things, for the bars and the restaurants, it means the opening times are changing. We have had for the last, I don't even know how long now, where we close at 12 o'clock. But that's changing now. That is, as of tonight, midnight, it means the bars and restaurants can actually stay open until 2 a.m., which is going to be a big thing for the businesses, which again, just alleviates it a little bit, the pressure a little bit more on small business, and gives them that opportunity to try and maximise their takings on their businesses moving forward. That's a great move, really. Another good move is that the interior is actually being increased to 40%. Now, 40% of interior capacity might not seem a lot, but what it does, in essence, is when the island's not this busy anyway, for a tourist coming over, I don't think you're going to get too much issue in having to wait for a table, etc. But with an increase of 40%, it does actually mean, again, that the bar owners and the restaurant owners can actually have got some way of moving forward of capitalising on their businesses, and giving them the best opportunity they possibly can. In some instances, even to survive. The terrace outside. Terraces outside, they remain at 75%, I believe. 75% on the terraces 75% on the terraces outside, which is again, it's not an issue because people can still sit down. There's not enough people on the island at this moment in time, which means people can still sit and enjoy a quiet drink or a meal out on a terrace. The weather is now starting to get warmer, that's for sure. We've had some really bad weather in the last 4 weeks. Some people say it's actually been quite a bad winter, but it's good to see that the terrace capacities, I don't think you really have much of an issue as a tourist over here. I don't think it'll be much of an issue for you with the terraces, but it's all definitely moving in the right direction. Things about swimming pools, for instance, they say that you've got to wear your mask when you walk into the sunbed, but when you get to the sunbed, you can take the mask off. Obviously, you don't need the mask going in the pools. On the beaches, you see the masks. They say you need to wear the mask to get to the beach, and then when you sunbathe on the beach, you can take your mask off. The reality is, yes, that's what the law says, but that's not what people are doing. If you're deciding that as a deciding factor of whether you want to come over here, about how strict people are on the masks, people aren't strict on the masks at all at the moment. It is just people tend to be using the common sense, which, rightly or wrongly, but that's the reality of it. So for myself, if I had 2 children, for instance, that were younger than ones I have, and I was thinking on planning a holiday to come over to Tenerife for the school holidays that are due at this moment in time, I think there's a lot of bargains out there at the moment, and I think it is a persuading factor for me. I wouldn't make the rules that are in place a deciding factor against this. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think for myself, as a father of two, I would actually take the decision and still come over to Tenerife. I've seen kids over here at the moment having a fantastic time. Everybody's relaxing the rules, but everybody's still staying mindful, and that's like what Victor Torres said. He's the president of the Canaries, Victor Torres, and he says, look, we're not getting rid of COVID, but what we are actually doing is we're just being mindful, still being mindful of the rules, and that's most probably the common sense approach about this going forward. That's my view anyway, in my eyes. Just want to say the information that I get is all coming from the Canarian Weekly. They're doing a fantastic job. There's a website called the Canarian Weekly. You'll find all the information on there. It is brilliant, for the most up to date. It's an online newspaper. It gives you, they put reports out there maybe every 5 or 6 hours. So if it's a deciding factor and you're wondering whether you want to come over, not too sure about what it's going to be, I really do suggest you go and have a look at that website as well, because I think that's going to be the one for the non-Spanish speaking people on this island. It's the main source of information for it. So I just really wanted to put my thoughts across there about what's happening at the moment and what the situation is, because there's a lot of money involved when it comes to getting people and getting families over on holiday. And sometimes people might make the wrong decision because the information isn't quite correct, or the information is correct and the reality is completely different. So I would rather give the reality of what's going on the island, as well as cross-checking that with the facts and the references. As I said, the link to the Canarian Weekly is going to be in there. There's also, I'll put a link to a Facebook page called Que Pasa, which is a great website as well for non-Spanish speaking people, and it'll have the information in there as well. Thanks for listening. Whatever you do decide, I hope you make the right decision, and we'll see you on the next one. Well, I told you things are moving fast, and it's definitely moving fast at a rapid pace at the moment. The Canary Weekly, again, thank you so much for giving the information. It has now been official that 12 to 17-year-olds can now come on holiday to the Canary Islands. The Spanish government has confirmed this morning, which is Friday, that they have altered the requirements for entry to Spain for people over 12 and under 18 years of age from countries outside the European Union or the Schengen area, where access to COVID vaccines for this age group presents difficulties or not yet possible. I just think the Spanish government have just saved the school holidays. Well done, guys. More in the link from the Canarian Weekly. I'll leave the link for that report also there in the description below. Leave a comment. Are you going to come? Does that mean you're coming? Let us know. Thanks a lot. We'll see you soon. Cheers.